the NBL. What is up? This is your host with the most, Coach Ty's Corner, making its inaugural debut for the M25, aka M14 Madden season. Back by popular demand, because I keep getting hit up everywhere I go. I get hit up on the texts, I get hit up on the website. When we gonna get another Coach Ty's Corner? Well, here we go. Now, I can tell you guys this, it's good to be back. It's good to be fired up with my engineer, Officer Reggie. It's good to be back in the saddle. I don't know if I'm going to do one of these every week because it's a time-consuming process for both me and Reggie. And in addition to that, sometimes it's not the easiest thing in the world coming up with material week after week, which I'm a talker, so I can do that, but not much happens from week to week. So after this show, I don't know when the next one will be. I don't know if we'll have one next week. I may do one next week. I may not do one for another couple of weeks, but it's about time we sit down here and we fire up the chat box and we get going and break down M25. So another season, glad to have everybody back. Glad to see everybody back in the league. We are 4 to 5 games in to the season, so I figured now would be as good a time as any to get going. So before we do anything else, let me give you Coach Ty's initial takes in terms of the gameplay, how the game plays, and what I like and dislike about the game. Now, before I get started doing that, I want to make sure you guys know, just because I may have dislikes about the game, it doesn't mean I think the game sucks. It doesn't mean I think the game is unplayable. It simply means that EA, year in and year out, they tweak the game, and there's going to be some things that are for the better of the average Madden player. There's going to be some things that are for the worst. So I'm simply sharing with you my observations about M25. Okay, before I start negatively, let's start with the pros of the game and the things I think are good. Out the gate, the first thing that caught my attention between the demo and playing the game now for a couple of weeks, I am very glad and grateful for the fact that there is a much improved physics engine. I remember last year one of my biggest pet peeves was that stupid ass animation where your guy gets knocked down and like 15 guys pile on top of him and he's trying to get up and get out the pile, but he's tripping on like 15 people. So the game would cut screen to this guy trying to get up, and he's trying to get up, and he stumbles and falls back down. Then he gets up, but then he falls over somebody's leg, and he falls back down. And it looked idiotic, and it was just ridiculous. In addition to that, I remember last year trying to do any type of inside runs was a pain in the ass. First of all, I don't care what running back you had. I don't care if he was big and strong or fast and small. If you went up the middle, you probably ran into your center's ass. You probably tripped over the left guard. You probably stumbled around 4 or 5 times and then got hit by a defender. So this year, the fact that they've really cleaned up the physics engine and you can run inside the tackles without tripping over your own linemen, the fact that when you get tackled, you can get up and run back to the line of scrimmage without falling 15 times over a pile of imaginary arms and legs, that's great. It makes the game look cleaner, and it's a better overall product. Second pro, much improved run game. I remember last year, pretty much due to the physics engine, if you didn't have a fast back and you couldn't hit that edge on the outside, you couldn't really run the ball. It was just non-existent. And even with the faster backs, you had to really have a pretty good blocking scheme and be able to hit the corners fast to get outside because the inside run game was dead. So it was a pass-happy league. So the fact that the run game is back and you can sit there and run the ball 20 to 30 times a game as opposed to having to throw it 30 times, I think that's great for the game. I think it's realistic as well. Unless you're the New England Patriots in the NFL, no one sits back and flings the ball 45 times. Point 3, love the fact that they toned down the pass leads. I thought pass leads last year in the game were utterly ridiculous. I get Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers or Peyton Manning, that they should be able to precision pass lead a receiver to an open spot and hit him. What annoyed me last year was to see Jake Locker hit somebody with a perfect pass lead. It annoyed me to see Andy Dalton hit somebody with a perfect pass lead. I'm good with the elite guys last year doing it. I'm not good with Josh Freeman doing it. Okay, let's have some type of realistic attributes actually mean something in the game. So this year, the pass leads is toned down, especially pass leads from the dual tight end streak set. I'm glad to see that toned down. I mean, if you're trying to play and have a realistic football game, the last thing you want is the video game aspect of people being able to line up and abuse you with two tight ends all day long just because the game glitches and allows for that. So glad to see toned down pass leads. Point 4. I love the improved pursuit and solo tackling. I love the fact that even when it looks like somebody's about to break and they're wide open and they're about to take off, well, actually, I take that back. I hate this. You always have that guy shoot out of the middle of nowhere, and he dives on the ground, and he basically grabs your shoestring, and next thing you know, you're tackled. I think that's good and bad. I think it's good because last year, especially on an all-man level, trying to tackle anybody was an abomination. At the same time, I think it's bad because some of the animations that I've seen are a little bit ridiculous. If I've got a 96-speed running back like David Wilson in the open, I'm not trying to see linebacker come 30 yards across the field, dive at my feet, grab me by my sock, and that's that. At the same time, I do think it's good because it gives you a chance defensively to stay in the game and eliminate some of these big plays. I also think the solo tackling, depending on who you're tackling this year, is better. If you're trying to tackle Alfred Morris, Adrian Peterson one-on-one, good luck. You might as well grab your ankles and kiss your ass because he's about to go bye-bye. But if it's not an Alfred Morris, Marshawn Lynch, Adrian Peterson type, you're able to somewhat, with the heat seeker option, square up and make a decent tackle on somebody one-on-one. So glad to see that. Point 5. Love the fact in 13 was better, but in 12 and beyond, if you didn't play with an elite team, you really couldn't be competitive in the game because the elite teams in 12 and older were just so stacked that if you were trying to play with Cleveland or Tennessee 2 or 3 years ago, you had no shot if you were playing the Green Bay Packers. You were playing the 49ers. I like this year that because of the read option and the run free, you can play pretty much with any team. I mean, perfect example in our league, Fighting Phils was 4-0 with the Jaguars. He was the last pick in the draft, and if you would have got the Jaguars 3 or 4 years ago, you were done. You might as well just quit the season. You might as well resign. It's over. This guy's got one of the best records at 4-0 in the league with the Jags. So basically, due to the way the game plays this year, any and everybody pretty much has a chance, no matter what team you have. Would it be great if he could have been Seattle? I'm sure he would have felt, yeah. At the same time, the fact that he knows how to solidly play the game allows him to take a team like Jacksonville or Cleveland and be productive. So I like the fact that there are more competitive teams in the game due to gameplay. Number 6, I think the graphics this year, I thought they were pretty good last year. I think this year they tweaked it even a little bit more. And the game's as realistic looking as possible. I mean, even when the game opens up and they show you in the locker room getting ready for the game, I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why we all play this isn't so much because of the video game aspect of the game. It's because we're all football fans. We love football. We love the challenge, and we love being able to take a team, make our trades, coach them, come up with our schemes to compete against the best players in the league. So the fact that the look of the game matches the experience we are trying to get from the game, I think it's a good thing. Last point, pros. D-line block has improved. What I mean by that is that in previous Madden years, you pretty much had to send a screaming hot blitz at somebody to kind of get through the line. This year, you can honestly play a base defense without really having to blitz much. And if you've got a decent D-line, you're going to get pretty good block shed that limits the quarterback on being able to sit back in the pocket all day long and just kind of, pick you apart. So I think that's good and it's realistic because in the NFL, you don't see any quarterback with 12 seconds to throw the ball. I don't care what team you're playing. You could be playing the worst team in the NFL, and you don't have 12 seconds to kind of stand in the pocket and wait for things to happen and throw the ball. You got to get rid of it. So I like the fact that the D-line block shit has improved this year because it's more realistic, and it also gives you the option to not have to blitz so much to get the quarterback off his spot. So those were the pros that Coach Ty sees with M25. Now for the cons. Number one, the overpowered O-lines. It's not realistic. Now, yes, I did say I enjoyed the fact that the run game's improved this year. What I don't enjoy is that the O-line is on steroids, okay? This is the same problem I had last year with pass leads. This is the same problem I have with Madden year in and year out, period. Whenever Madden tries to fix something, if they don't fix it to the point to where it's serviceable, they over-freaking-do it. Okay, if you've got the San Francisco 49ers offensive line, I'm good with them pancaking me all the way down the field. Okay, if you're playing with the damn, who can I pick on here? I don't want to pick on Keith. If you're playing with my New York Giants and their O-line sucks this year and they're trash and they're garbage, I'm really not trying to see every snap, everybody, including the wide receivers, pancaking my entire line. The offensive lines should match according to the attributes of the real NFL teams. And I've said this in many coaches' corners. What the hell good is it to have attributes if they don't mean nothing? If every single O-line on every single team is on steroids, then what's the bonus of playing with the 49ers? Because now you can be the Jaguars, and you can push and pull everybody, and Justin Blackman can pancake Jason Pierre-Paul, and you can break an 80-yard run. And I don't think that's realistic, and I think it's ridiculous. And offense, as usual, is already at a severe advantage over defense. The last thing I need now is to lose my mind because I can't freaking get off of a block because once a wide receiver, not an old lineman, a wide receiver grabs me, I'm done until the play's over. Okay, so while I enjoy the fact that you're able to run free, I don't enjoy the fact that somebody needs to test the O-line because they want to juice. Once again, EA, tone that trash down and let's not get crazy. Okay? 2, the interception animation is garbage. Okay? I hate that animation more than any other animation in the entire game. The only animation in the past that I hate as much as the interception animation was that stupid-ass Superman animation that, and Candy made his money off this. He dropped Brian Urlacher, a one linebacker, in a purple or in a yellow. You throw the ball 20 yards downfield past Urlacher or over his head, and he jumped 18,000 feet in the air and pick you off. Like you had no trajectory on your ball. Well, this year, that animation has been replaced with another animation that I hate just as much as that, and that's the interception animation. First of all, half the time when you pick the ball off, you can't even tell you picked it off. It looks like you caught it, but the game freezes and pauses for about 2 seconds, and when it unfreezes and pauses, it may say user pick on the top, or it won't if the computer did it. But then normally it starts you running the wrong way because when the game freezes, if you're going up, you're going to click down because you're trying to get a return. But when the game freezes and you press down, you wind up going up, and now even though you picked off the ball, you're running three yards back from where you caught the ball to where by the time you realize what way you're going and turn around, you get tackled. That interception animation is horrible, and it's got to go. 3, the blitz has been severely neutralized this year. Now, I did say I enjoyed the fact the D-line had better block shed. But along with the O-line being overpowered, I remember about 2-3 years ago in the game, if you sent the blitz at a running back, even if someone blocked the back, if it was JPP bearing down on, let's say, Maurice Jones-Drew, he'd pretty much grab him and shuck him and push him to the side and get to the quarterback. This year, no matter who the D-end is or linebacker, and no matter who the linebacker is, if someone blocks that linebacker, he will run all the way from the left side of the field, all the way to the right side of the field, and he'll stonewall you, which neutralizes the blitz totally. Because this year, it seems like if you don't send 6, you ain't getting there unless someone's just not blocking, period. They're not blocking aggressive. They're not blocking a running back. Unless the D-end has a clear, free path to the quarterback, you can't get there this year unless you send 6, which when you have a game that's overpowered on offense to start with, when you have a running scheme that's overpowered to start with, and now you give a quarterback the ability to drop back 55,000 feet and throw on the run, no matter who he is, and be accurate, and you can't blitz, that's a problem. Which brings me to my next point about something else I don't like about the game. Throw on the run. Every time you look at throw on the run attributes, you know, I've got Matthew Stafford on the lines, and I think his throw on the run is in like the low 70s, which means if he's mobile and he's off his spot and he's running and he's throwing the ball, he shouldn't be that accurate. I can run left, right, back, front, center, 20 feet back, throw the ball, and it hits Calvin Johnson in stride at the drop of a dime, which once again, attributes now mean nothing. Okay, now if Mike Vick throws on the run, Aaron Rodgers throws on the run, I'm good with that. I'm not good with Eli Manning throwing on the run perfectly. I'm not good with Matthew Stafford throwing on the run perfectly. I'm not good with Tom Brady scrambling 15 feet to the right and throwing a perfect strike. That's just not accurate. And once again, why do we have attributes if they don't mean nothing? If every quarterback in the game can throw on the run, then who cares if you have a 72 throw on the run or a 92? Robert Griffin III should be able to throw on the run. Russell Wilson should be able to throw on the run. Okay? Once again, Peyton Manning shouldn't be able to throw on the run. Okay? He's Peyton Manning. He's a pocket freaking quarterback. You know, Matty Ice shouldn't be able to scramble 15 feet to the right and throw a perfect 80-yard across his back, across the field strike. That's got to go. Or eliminate the attributes. Next thing I don't like about the game, the overpowered read option. Once again, Robert Griffin, Russell Wilson, Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers, Michael Vick, if they're involved in a read action play, I get the defense being confused. I get them getting around the corner. I get them picking up yards with their feet. I shouldn't be able to take Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Matthew Stafford and come up to the line of scrimmage, call a quarterback wrap, and get 10 yards. Them dudes are slow as molasses, and they're not mobile. Okay? Once again, when EA does something, they go overboard with it. Okay? I get that the read options do what's crazy in the NFL. I get the read options powerful and it's potent. It shouldn't be that way for everybody, because why do we have attributes if they don't matter? And before some wise guy tells me, hey, Coach Ty, you can run a read option with anybody, but it's not more effective if you have a pocket, I get that. But I still should be able to consistently pick up 8 or 9 yards with Matthew Stafford on a read option. It just shouldn't be that way. The defense shouldn't be that slow and that confused that they have no idea what's going on when you have some dude with 70 speed coming around the corner. The only thing I can say I like about the read option that I've noticed is that if you run it with Mike Vick and you take a hit, you're getting up. You run the read option around the corner with Matthew Stafford and you get hit, you ain't getting up. And that's realistic, and I do appreciate that. At least they've got that part of it down. The defense being at an extreme disadvantage, we've already talked about this. Okay? Because that's my next point. You can't stop the pass. The O-line's overpowered, so you can't stop the run. And now you've got to deal with the read option. And purple zones don't play right worth the damn. Good luck trying to stop or slow somebody down or keep them under 20 points. Point 7, the auto-blink system. Not a big fan of it. I get why they did it. And what I mean by the auto-blink system is last year you could be in a 5 wide, you can audible down to a goal line offense, and you can get your playoff. This year, if you're in 5 wide, you can't audible to any other thing except something else that has a package with 5 wide receivers. So it's handcuffed somebody, and it's made picking a playbook more difficult, because now when you pick a playbook, you have to look at what formations, personnel-wise, match. Perfect example, I ran the Indy book last year and I loved it. But because the personnel grouping sets in each formation is so different, I had to drop that book this year because I can't audible from formation to formation. Now, some people are probably out there thinking, well, that's good, Todd, that's right, that's the way it should be. You know, in real NFL, that's the way it is. Again, no. In the real NFL, if you fake a punt, You have your punt formation out there, but you can turn several people into wide receivers when they break the line of scrimmage on the fake, and they can go down the field and catch the ball. You're not deadlocked. So I've learned how to play with the audible system, but not so sure I like it. Last but not least, in terms of my big dislikes, the user player. I think the user player this year is nowhere near as effective as it used to be in years past. Last year, you could always find that Madden gem, a guy like Bruce Carter, who maybe didn't have the best awareness, but he was fast, and he can cover a lot of ground, and he had good hit power, and he can catch. You can click onto him from the middle linebacker position, and you could cover sideline to sideline fluently. You can drop back fluently. You can run up in the box fluently. This year, for some reason, I feel like whenever I'm on my user player, I don't have the kind of control over him that I want. Even if it's a fast guy, instead of him running straight down or straight to the sidelines, I get this weird kind of stutter step, sliding, gliding animation to where I always see and know where the play's going. I can get there, but just kind of not quite fast enough to make a play. And it's nothing I'm doing differently user-wise this year than last year. And I don't know what it is, but the user has been toned down significantly, which to me, that takes a lot of the fun out of the game, because it's hard to take away certain reads, because now you have to depend on manning people up or dropping zones in the area as opposed to I'm going to jump that route myself and take that away. So now the game's almost been custom made to make it more friendly to the novice instead of the pro, so to speak. Because if you're not able to be very effective user-wise, that's, you can jump less routes. The probability of you making things happen lessens, and now you're at the mercy of the computer. So, for the most part, those are my pros and cons with M25. Like it or love it, it's the only game we got on the market. EA has a monopoly on the game, and until there is another entity that can challenge them gameplay-wise, this is what it is. So I and anybody else, we can bitch and moan and complain all we want, but if we want to play football, we want to play the game, this is what we have. This is the best we have. You need to learn the game to the best of your ability. You need to be able to overcome the negatives and turn them into positives. So once again, I'm not complaining about the game. I'm telling you the things I don't like. That being said, I enjoy football, I enjoy Madden, I enjoy the league, so I'm going to do the best I can to overcome these things and play the best possible game I can play to be successful. That being said, let's start with what's going on in the league 4 to 5 games in. So now, my top 5 surprises in the league. When I say surprises, it doesn't necessarily mean it's good things, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It just means being 4 to 5 games in the league, these are the 5 most compelling things that I've seen that I'm like, wow. And this is in no type of order. First thing that surprises me in my division is the Chicago Bears, coached by UGA, are 0-4. Now, that's surprising to me because UGA is the first Super Bowl winner in NBL history. Perennially, season in and season out, year in and year out, he's one of the better players in the league, and we know he always has a potent offense. So for a guy this caliber to start out with 0 wins and 4 losses, that's definitely surprising to me. I did not expect that. Number 2, the Pittsburgh Steelers, coached by Chicago Tough 23, a.k.a. CT. Any and everybody knows CT's a gamer. CT is a student of the game. CT is very smart football-wise, and he's pretty smart video game-wise. So to see him and the Steelers come out the box 1-3 is surprising to me. Yeah, I get there's a learning period, and yeah, I get that there's a lot of learning in the game still to be done, but you kind of don't expect a guy like CT to start out 1-3 because we all know, once again, what he brings to the table. Surprise number 3, the Giants. Jay Garoux starting out at 1-3. That's another big shocking surprise. Anybody that's been in the league with Jay Garoux knows year in and year out, he was the Giants last year. He's a threat every single year to win it all, and every year he's virtually a playoff lock. So to see that guy come out 1-3, knowing how good a player he is, and knowing the kind of player he is at 1-3, it's like, wow. That's pretty surprising. Number 4, Booney Mack and the Arizona Cardinals at 3-1. This is a big-time surprise, at least in my opinion. Booney Mack in M12 was one of the better players in the league. Don't know what happened from 12 to 13, but at 13 he struggled pretty badly, and he was pretty much the doormat of his division. And I say that with no disrespect, but he didn't string together much wins. I think combined maybe in all 4 seasons he might have had, 14, 15 wins, and this is in all 4 seasons. So to see him come out the gate 3-1, I'm glad to see Booney's got his swagger back. I'm glad to see he's got his game back, and it's good to see a veteran guy of the league back doing what he does best at 3-1 in a tough division. So good to see him back and on track. And last but not least, the Buffalo Bills at 0-4. Now, the fact that the Bills team themselves is 4-0 is not truly surprising. But you never know what you're going to get with Buffalo. We all know Buffalo Sam, the owner of the Bills, is a diehard Bills fan. And sometimes you get good Buffalo Sam, who can beat damn near anybody in the league. And sometimes you get bad Buffalo Sam that's not necessarily interested in playing the game, kind of doesn't care, kind of gives up in the middle of the game, kind of self-destructs and does some craziness. So to see him come out the gate 4-0 undefeated, I think is somewhat of a surprise. I think he's playing some great football. I'm glad to see him doing what he's doing with his hometown team. But definitely surprising. So those are Coach Ty's top 5 surprises in the league. Now, quickly, I'm going to go through the top 5 offenses in the league, the worst 5 offenses in the league, the top 5 defenses in the league, and the worst 5 defenses in the league. So let's start out now with the top 5 offenses in the league. Coming in at number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coach Darkness is winless, which is surprising, especially like I said, considering he's got a top 5 defense, but he's 0-4-0. They are ranked 32nd in the league in offense. Okay? They're not ranked 32nd in the league in offense. They're ranked 32nd out of 32 teams, period. 2,404 yards, 1,600 yards of total offense, 1,065 passing yards, 532 rushing yards, 37 points a game. Pretty solid all the way across the board. He's got a good mix of run and pass. He puts points up. The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is defensively, we must not be able to stop anybody, because if you have that good an offense and you're 0-4, the problem isn't offense, it's defense. The 4th best offense in the league, Buffalo Sam and the Buffalo Bills. 1,877 yards of offense, 965 passing yards, 912 yards rushing, 43 points a game. Well, now we know why he's 4-0. What are you going to stop or take away from that guy? The guy is perfectly balanced between pass and run. He mixes it up. I'm pretty sure he's running some read option down there with E.J. Manuel. He's putting up 43 points a game. Good luck game planning against that guy defensively when you play him. By the way, he's ranked number 2 in the league, period. Overall as a team. 3rd best offense in the NBL, the New England Patriots. I don't know this gentleman personally. He's one of the newer guys in the league. He's 3-1. 2,021 yards of total offense, 1,633 passing yards, 388 rushing yards, 46 points a game. That's why he's 3-1. What else can I say? Actually, what else I can say is I can tell he's pass heavy. I can tell his run game's not off to the best start. The only concern I'd have there is that 1,633 passing yards and 388 rushing yards, he may want to mix in some run game, because when you come across somebody that can slow that pass down and you can't run, now you're one-dimensional. But so far so good start-wise. Number 2 in the NBL in offense, the New York Jets. 2,623 total yards of offense, 1,902 yards of offense, 1,033 passing yards, 869 rushing yards, 27.2 points a game. Another guy who's perfectly balanced, another guy who scores a decent amount of points. At 2 and 3, I would once again say the issue definitely isn't offensively. It must be defensively. But at least offensively, he knows he can hang, compete, and stay in most games. The number one offense in the Madden Brotherhood League is Blair's basis, the Tennessee Titans. 2,301 yards of offense, 1,251 passing yards, 1,050 yards rushing, 42 points a game. The only thing that surprises me about that is that Blair is 3 and 2. I would think with those offensive stats we'd be closer to 4 and 1. But what can you say? Top offense in the league, perfectly balanced. He can score points. Like I said about the Buffalo Bills, good luck game playing against that guy on defense. And now on to, I don't want to say the top 5, so I guess I'll go with the 5 worst offenses in the NBL. So, at number 5, the 5th worst offense in the NBL, the Cleveland Browns. 3 and 1, so they must have a hell of a defense, but they've only put up 1,495 yards of total offense, 1,100 yards passing, 377 rushing, 30 points a game. I think the thing that strikes me there is the lack of run game and the fact that when they faced and placed somebody that can somewhat slow that pass down, they could have concerns not being able to run the ball. But at 3 and 1, they don't have too many concerns right now. They are the 5th worst offense in the league. The 4th worst offense in the league is the team that's ranked number 1 in the entire league. Our commissioner, Philly in Canada, in the Washington Redskins. 1,429 yards, 533 passing yards, 896 rushing yards, 28 points a game. Now, the first thing that jumps out at me there is we're 4 games into the season and he's got 533 yards passing with Robert Griffin. I think I can throw for 533 yards in 1 game. Now, that's not to make fun or say anything negative because I can do that, but I'm 2 and 2 and he's 4 and 0. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. If you don't need to pass the ball that much and between your option and run game, you're that good, keep doing what you're doing. Only concern would be when you find somebody that can slow that run down, when you find somebody that can stop that read option, and you can't throw the ball and you're not used to throwing the ball, or if you fall behind early in the game, you could have some problems. The 3rd worst offense in NBL, the Baltimore Ravens. They're 1-3-0, and this could be a big reason why. They're the 3rd worst offense in the league. Staff Sergeant Pettigrew, 1,098 total yards, 785 passing yards, 313 rushing yards. They're averaging 15 points a game. In a game that's dominated by the offense, you're not going to beat too many people putting up 15 points a game. Good night now. Case closed. No more needs to be said. The 2nd worst offense in the NBL are the Indianapolis Colts at 1 and 3. 1,100 yards total offense, 947 passing yards, and 157 rushing yards. Put up 21 points a game. 157 rushing yards. I played the Chicago Bears in UGA, and Matt Forte had 498 yards rushing on me in 1 game. This guy's 4 games in, and he's got 157 rushing yards total. I think we can see why they're the 2nd worst offense. And the worst offense in the NBL, my engineer Reggie is going to hate me for saying this, but his Green Bay Packers are the worst offense in the NFL. 1,040 total yards, 646 passing yards, 394 rushing yards, 27.3 points per game. Definitely not great passing numbers. Rushing numbers are okay. And he can put points up on the board. I think this is more due to the fact that he had a bye week this week and his offense is that bad. Because when you look at the numbers and stats, they're not horrible at all. Like I said, the passing and rushing numbers are a little thin, but I think this has more to do with the fact that he was on a bye than the fact that his offense stinks. So, that being said now, we will go ahead and look at the top 5 defenses in the NFL, the NBL, and the 5 worst defenses. Top 5 defense, the 5th ranked defense in the NFL, the NBL. Sorry, I'm watching the Patriots Falcons in the background. The Baltimore Ravens are the 5th best defense in the NFL. They've only given up 1,193 total yards. They've given up 878 in the air, 315 on the ground, and they've only given up 89 points. They're 1-3, which when you see that they're the 5th best defense in the league, but they're one of the worst offenses in the league, you see where their struggle is. Once Steph Sergeant P can actually put some points on the board, if he keeps playing defense the way he is, he should start winning a lot more games. 4th best defense in the NFL, perennial champion, Candyman, in the Minnesota Vikings. Only giving up 1,068 total yards, 843 in the air, 225 rushing, which is awesome in a run-free game. And he's only given up 73 points. There's a reason this man is 4-0-0, and that's why. 3rd best defense in the NBL. My engineer, Officer Reggie, is Green Bay Packers. So even though he's got the worst offense in the league, he's got the 3rd best defense in the league. He's coming off a bye. He's 1-2-0. He's only given up 1,000 total yards, only 585 in the air, 414 on the ground, and 83 total points. So when you play Reggie, you already know it's going to be a tough battle. Once he gets his offense on track, I'm pretty sure that 1 and 2 is going to go away pretty quickly. The 2nd best defense in the NBL are the Washington Redskins. Now, they're also one of the worst offenses. So just imagine when Coach Philly gets a passing game to go along with that run game. He's only given up 988 total yards, 631 against me. Not against me. 631 passing, 357 rushing, and 70 points. I personally played this man. It's the best I've ever seen him play defensively. He had me caged. I have no excuses. He played a great game on both sides of the ball. In his defense, he didn't send blistering heat. He didn't play a ton of max coverage. He just played really smart defense. He made really good adjustments, and there really just wasn't much open. So props to him. And the number 1 defense in the NBL, perennial Super Bowl champion who just retired, unfortunately, Fighting Phils, and the Jaguars. 868 total yards, 647 passing, 221 rushing, 51 points. That's insane. I scored 51 points in my last game against Chicago. This guy's given up 51 points in 4 games. Doing the average on that, he's probably given up about, 13 points a game. That is insane in an offensively dominated game. Just goes to show you how good that man's defense is. So now we'll flip the script. We'll look at the 5 worst defenses in the league. So the 5th worst defense in the league, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As great as their offense is, when you're giving up 2,000 yards of yards, 1,481 passing, 417 rushing, and letting the opponent score a combined 186, it's hard to win a lot of games. The 4th worst defense, Coach Jim A, which surprises me. Jim A always has one of the best defenses traditionally year in, year out, season in, season out. And so far, he's given up 1,900 yards, 1,397 pass, 566 rushing, and 160 points. So, kind of surprised to see that. I don't expect it to last long. Jimmy usually tightens up on defense. It's early with a new game. I expect that to improve. Coach UGA, Chicago Bears, one of my big surprises overall at 0-4-0. Giving up 1,936 yards total, 1,092 passing, 894 rushing, and 179 points. The bad news there is that he's given up a lot of yards both in the air and on the ground. So when you can't stop the pass or the run, it's extremely hard to play defense. I just played him once again. Great game, 51-48. Ran for almost 500 yards on me. As insane as that sounds, he still lost because conversely, he couldn't stop me. So I'm pretty sure once he tightens up defensively with the offense he has, he'll start winning some games. The second to last worst defense in the in the NBL is Coach Crunchy and the Philadelphia Eagles, giving up 2,082 yards, 1,491 passing, 591 rushing, 147 points. He's given up a lot of yards via the pass. He's decent against the run. He hasn't given up that many points. So not really sure, without talking to him, what the issue is. But even though he's the second and last ranked defense, it's actually not that bad looking on paper. So there must be something else going on I can't see. And the worst defense in the NBL belongs to the New York Jets. They're giving up 2,200 total yards, 1,500 passing, 691 rushing, and 180 points. So they're giving up a ton of yards in the air and a ton of points. They're 2-3. They're lucky they're not 1-3 or worse. But for the time being, you gotta tighten up. You got to figure out how to somewhat slow the pass down, and he can get the ship righted there. So that's Coach Ty's top 5 surprises, top 5 offense, worst 5 offense, top 5 defense, worst 5 defense. League leaders from a personal statistical standpoint, Tom Brady is currently leading the NBL. He's the top-rated passer at 1,545 yards a game. Adrian Peterson has 1,000 yards rushing in 4 games. I want you guys to understand what I just said. He's got 1,000 yards in 4 games. That means he's averaging 250 yards a game. At this pace, he could finish the season rushing with 4,000 yards. I mean, wow, what else can you say? Somebody stop that man or slow him down, please. I played the Vikings in game 1. I certainly wasn't the dude to stop it. I contributed to a part of that 1,000 yards because I think I gave up close to 300 yards rushing. So, if somebody's going to be able to stop him, it's right now not me. Good luck with that task. Dwayne Bowe leads all wide receivers with 429 yards receiving. On defense, Chris Clemens, used to be of the Seattle Seahawks, is leading the league with 5 sacks. Stephen Gilmore of the Buffalo Bills has 5 picks currently. And Justin Houston, I believe, of the Kansas City Chiefs has 30 tackles. So those are your league leaders in offense and defense. Trends in the Madden community, in our league, and online that I've seen so far, the read option. What a shock. What a surprise. I would have never guessed that that'd be overused and abused this year. Corner routes, especially if your opponent can tell you're a man, are being abused up the wazoo. Every time you turn around, if you play man defense, you can pretty much guess that somebody's looking to beat you deep on a corner route. And play action routes. With the run free and offensive line blocking the way it is this year, one of the biggest trends I'm seeing is somebody running, and then setting that up with a play action pass to beat you or bust you up deep once you're trying to key on the run. So as the year and the seasons go along, I'm sure these trends will either change or they'll get ran into the ground, but those are the big 3 that I see right now. Tips you can use to improve your game right now currently in the early season. 1, if you think about what I said about the top 5 offenses, the biggest thing I've noticed was the balance. The balance between run and pass. It's a run-free year. There's no need to sit back and fling the ball 55 times. Any and everybody can run. What as good as the offensive lines are blocking, and as bad as run defense is this year, I mean, you would be foolish to not try and at least run for run's sake. Even if you're not run the ball 20 or 30 times a game guy, you got to at least run 13 to 16 times. I mean, you got to at least try to keep defenses honest, because when you play better players in the league and you can't run at all, and they can load up and either blitz you and mix it up with max coverage, you're going to have some hard times. Number 2, you got to be able on defense to stop and slow down the run of the option. The option is one of the biggest overabused tactics in Madden this year, and the run game's ridiculous. So if you can't stop the run or the option, it is going to be a long game and a long season for you. Perfect example once again. I played UGA, the Chicago Bears, on Saturday. He ran 2 plays the entire game. No, I had no problems with the fact he ran 2 games because UGA was smart. Okay, I know in the league we tell you guys to mix up your plays, but it's the stupidest thing in the world to run a play on somebody and see they can't stop it and decide not to use that play no more for mixing it up sake. If the object of this game is to win and you're doing something that somebody can't stop, why in the hell would you do anything else? That man ran 2 plays on me the entire game. One of them was a run, an off-tackle run to the right out of, I want to say, strong close. I could not get around that edge to save my life. He sealed me every single time. My user kept getting sealed. No one could get around that edge, and this got a field day for 498 yards. And guess what? He knew I couldn't stop, so guess what? He kept doing it. All I did was, I was frustrated, not with him, with myself, because I knew what was coming, and I still couldn't stop it. But my hat's off to him, because that's what you should do. So, case in point, if you can't stop the run and read option this year, it is going to be a long-ass season for you. If you do nothing else in the game this year, you better get you some damn run defense, and you better figure out how to stop the option. What else can you do to improve your game? You got to lab in the early part of this year. I think 2 of my big surprises, UGA being 0-4 and J Group being 1-3, I think it has nothing to do with the fact that they're not great players, because they are. But these are guys who traditionally have told us in the chat, on the radio shows, hey, I don't lab. That's cool. No one's saying you should lab for 35 hours a day. At the same time, when you have a new game dropping with all the changes in the game, you can't sit there and not play this game, wait for your game to come, pick up the sticks ice cold and think you're going to beat the better players in the league. It just doesn't work that way. Now, if you don't have the time to lab, you don't have the time. But I'm here to tell you, this is a new game, it plays differently, and you better make the time some way, somehow, to figure out how this game works if you want to be successful in this league. In addition to labbing, I'm not big on saying play a zillion online ranked games, but you can only play the computer so much. The computer and people play entirely different. Yeah, I know that's no surprise, but you want to try to have a good mix of getting your reps in against the computer, but then actually playing live opponents. Even if you don't play online ranked, play online unranked. Play people on your friends list. There's nothing that can prepare you for league play like playing a person and seeing how your schemes work or don't work. And last but not least, on defense, play conservative and play smart, bend but don't break. In years past, like Madden 12, you can send 18 million blitzes at the quarterback, and you could hold somebody to 0 points, and you could totally shut them down, and it was game over. Okay? Last year was the year of the fag D. Or better yet, coverage D, to be politically correct. Everybody would drop a million people back, and that's what it was. This year, it seems the best way to slow somebody down is to play a combination of both. Blitzing is nowhere near as effective this year as it has been, and max coverage will get killed by run free. The best thing you can do is key on your opponent's tendencies, mix it up, try not to give up big runs, try not to get beat over the top with massive streaks, and try to make them earn their way up the field. I never thought myself personally as a defensive guy that I would say that's the best we can do is to bend but don't break, but so far, that's what I see. Last but not least, I'm going to end Coach Ty's Corner with a new segment called Coach Ty Corner's NFL Rant. And what I'm going to do whenever I do the show is I'm going to pick and find a topic in the NFL that's pissing me off, that's bothering me, and I'm going to give you my take on it. It's not NBL, but you know what? We're all football fans here at the end of the day, and we love the game, and I'm sure you guys got takes and see things like this as well. My NFL rant today is going to be on Philip Rivers, the San Diego Chargers quarterback. Now, I'm born and raised in New York, and I go back once or twice a year. I'm currently living out here in Southern California. I'm living in a suburb called Rancho Cucamonga, basically outside of Los Angeles. And it's about maybe an hour away from San Diego, so I personally went down and seen my fair share of Charger games. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what's your problem with Philip Rivers? He's a good enough quarterback. My problem with Philip Rivers is he's a little bitch. Point blank, period, end of discussion. Well, Coach Ty, what do you mean by that? You know, I'm sick and tired of the biased media. I'm sick and tired of the biased NFL talking heads that when Terrell Owens made some kind of body language or sign of gesture, translated that to he's a bad guy. He's a horrible teammate. He's a cancer in the locker room. Last year when Jay Cutler, pushed one of his offensive linemen, he's pouting. He's a sore loser. What a bad guy. Chad Ochocinco, a.k.a. Chad Johnson, you know what? He did a little dance. What a horrible guy he is. You can't play with him. But the same talking heads and the same biased media will sit there when Phillip Rivers continues to pout, when he does his little celebrations in people's faces, when he pushes and taunts other people. Oh, he's fiery. Oh, he's a leader. Oh, he hates to lose. My question is this. What the hell is the difference between the crap he does game in and game out and the stuff Jay Cutler does? Why is Jay Cutler a whiner and a pouter and a crybaby, but Phillip Rivers is fiery? He's a competitor. He's a leader. What the hell? I catch this guy's act week in and week out, and he's a big-ass baby, and he's a little bitch, and somebody needs to plant him firmly on his ass and make him pay for this crap. I'm sick and tired of him taunting defenses. I'm sick and tired of him pouting on the sidelines when things don't go his way. I'm sick and tired of seeing him run up to a defensive lineman like he wants some when he doesn't. And I'm sick and tired of the NFL talking heads and everybody giving this guy a pass and saying he's fiery. He's a competitor. He's a leader. But when my boy T.O. does something, he's a cancer. He's a bad guy. He's a horrible teammate. I'm sick and tired of the double standards. Phillip Rivers is a little bitch, and he needs to be called out on his crap. And if he's firing, he's a competitor, then that means T.O. and Chad Johnson and Jay Cutler, that means they're leaders too, and that means they're fiery too. Enough with the damn double standards. And that's Coach Ty's NFL rant for this week. Stay tuned for the next edition of Coach Ty's Corner. I can't tell you when it is, but I enjoy the fact that you guys are listening to me, obviously. I enjoy the fact that Reggie takes the time to help me put this show together. And I enjoy the fact that you guys enjoy this show and request it and want to listen to it more often. So for right now, Coach Ty needs a damn drink. My mouth is dry from talking all this smack. And I am out. Take it easy. Have a good weekend and good luck in your next games. Peace.